I'm freaking loving it.
I was like fist pumping at that like before we were getting here. Holy, they changed the music on us. Thanks, Todd.
Stepping it up.
Rob, thanks for coming in and liking the video. How we doing today? Rally Town fam, welcome to the show. I know, yeah, I felt like I was in the club too, man.
Yeah, let's go back to that real quick and just.
Can I do it? No, I can't.
Right. No, that's okay. That's okay.
So it's only in the pregame, but I would love to just keep absolutely banging out to that. But yeah, Townhall Tuesday. Welcome. Todd is off for the evening. He is not feeling well. So Aaron is stepping in. Aaron, how we doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
I'm usually on Wednesday or Thursday. I had to move a couple things around in the schedule. Not really, but I'm glad to be here, man.
Absolutely. Well, I will. I think I'll be joining you tomorrow and Thursday. So I should be here all week. Are you gonna be on all week?
I won't be on Thursday.
Okay. All right.
But I will be on tomorrow.
All right.
After I shoot an amazing round of golf and I'm just riding high.
Absolutely. I need to get back out and get some redemption on the sticks. I did not have a good outing the last time I went out, so
that's part of the game.
It led to me not doing something great with the club. So
you broke one, didn't you?
I did.
Which club?
My driver.
I
have my backup. Yeah, I've got my old driver, which is
a backup for a reason, though.
Right. Well, I mean, I didn't really. It was a gift, so I wasn't planning on getting a new driver because I actually enjoyed it. It's a TaylorMade M2 is the one that I'll be hitting from this point moving forward. I had the new Callaway. What is it called?
I have a Callaway XR16.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. Callaway Mavericks, what it's called.
Oh, okay.
So like their newest one. So I'm gonna get it reshafted and figure it out from there. But yeah, Rob, club is going up on a Tuesday. How we doing? Your Bears are making moves right now, Rob.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, yeah, they traded for N'Keal Harry today, it's an interesting move. I mean, he hasn't found any success after being a first-round draft pick for the Patriots. I mean, the Bears give up a 7th for it. He certainly has talent because he was a first-round pick out of, I believe, Arizona State. He showed some promise. He's a big body receiver. And, for the Bears, it's, losing Allen Robinson and, they don't really have a, elite receiver room. It's certainly just kind of a flyer to throw at it for a 7th rounder. Not really that big of a deal. Justin Fields can use some targets out there. So, we'll see how it pans out. But if I'm a Bears fan, it's nothing that's doing anything for me than going, that's kind of interesting, man.
Right. I mean, what do you think it does for their offense? Maybe I'm not completely caught up with the Bears yet, but Justin Fields will be the starter this year, correct?
Mm-hmm. I mean, barring any type of injury, you don't draft a guy in the first round. I know they kind of brought him along a little slowly last year. They had a terrible offensive line, kind of fed him to the wolves a little bit. But I watched a lot of his games at Ohio State, and I mean, he's the real deal. I think he's a really good quarterback because he's not just. He obviously is a dual threat quarterback, but he certainly isn't just a tuck it and run it guy. The guy can sling it. The guy has a really, really good pro arm. So it'll be interesting to see if, an off season of work will help him out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd, Bruce, Will coming in with the likes. Appreciate it.
Let's go, boys.
Tonight. Will, thank you for the share. Will, how we doing, brother? We actually did have a question for you. Just sent you an email. We were asking what day and time the golf outing was. You can either type in chat or just respond to the email. But yeah, we definitely all want to be there. I think we still got to get Todd a set of sticks. I don't know. Todd, do you have clubs if you're still in here? Just curious. But in regards to Justin Fields, in my opinion, I think he's the most pro ready quarterback that we've seen come out of Ohio State in quite some time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I can't think of another one that came out that was anywhere near where he's at.
I mean, Haskins was supposed, he was good, but he just never really, it never really translated to the pros. And Ohio State pretty typically has quarterbacks that don't succeed well in the NFL, unfortunately, although they have great college quarterbacks, especially over the last 10 years. When you talk about, Terrell Pryor, Braxton Miller, Cardale Jones, obviously JT Barrett, Haskins, and now Fields. And of course, Stroud is, touted to be, if not number one, number two behind Young out of Alabama. So we'll see how that goes. But September 24th. That's
I'm
the
looking
date.
to see what date
It's
that
a
is.
Saturday.
That is a Saturday.
Let's go.
So barring anything crazy, all four of us should be in attendance for that, Mr. Reynolds.
The only issue I will have there is it's fine. It's like 2 weeks before my wedding, so we'll see.
Okay. So October wedding?
Yeah, October 7th.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Very cool. Is it going to be up there in Cleveland? Or are you traveling?
Yeah, it's just right here local.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very, very. Well, you're a couple months away. How are we feeling?
I feel fine about the wedding or getting married. Getting married isn't the scary part. It's putting together this fucking party. And every day that we plan this, we're like, we should have just eloped and sent everyone an email. Like, hey, we'll have a little party or something. But yeah, we're already married. So sorry.
Hell yeah.
That's the way we should have done it.
Yeah, that's the way I would. I mean, just go get married and then just throw one bomb ass party. Like,
yeah, but we can't go back and do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So although we feel that way now, in 5 years, are we gonna? You know what I mean? Like, are we gonna be upset that we didn't?
Are you gonna be upset that you didn't have the wedding? Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime thing. Most of the time.
When we were at the bachelor party, we did like a draft for the golf that weekend because we, made a game out of it of like two teams, and one of my buddies did it like he was reading like the commissioner cards for the picks, and he's like, "Welcome to the first annual mailing bachelor," and I cut him off. I was like, "First annual?" I was like, "Motherfucker, you
get married once a year."
I was like, "It fucking better not be.
You're gonna be fucking broke."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm a one and done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think I've played in that outing the last, 3 or 4 years, at least 4. I think ever since it started, and that it is one hell of a fun time. I will tell you that right now.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like we won't be scrambling a lot off of Todd's ball, but Rally Towel will be there.
We will be in attendance, and we will be competing with the best of them in regards to how many beverages go down.
Oh, that's a lock. That's an absolute lock of the century. I think Vegas has this at minus money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's like minus 200 or something like that. Like, it's not even worth,
you heard it here first, Chess.
Yeah.
Vegas is in on a local outing in Columbus or Wilmington, Ohio.
Oh, it's not minus 200 to win. It's to consume the most beverages.
Yeah, I'll take that challenge. I don't know. There's some people that can throw back down there. That's for damn sure. But
that's true.
If we got Corey on our team, I don't think anybody down there is going to shotgun one faster than him, though.
That's true. That's true.
I'd like to see anybody try. That's it. That's at least what I've come to after watching that video and getting embarrassed on the live. Oh man, that was disgusting. But kind of a segue from like barbecues and July 4th and all that. Some sad news in the Steelers world. Heinz Field is no longer.
Yeah.
Their Heinz contract is up with the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, so the naming rights are up for grabs.
No, they did name them. It's I can't even pronounce it, but it's some insurance company out of Michigan.
Oh, no shot. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Heinz Field new name. Many already hate it. That's a good start.
Acrisure. So enjoy that. It rolls off the tongue. Acrisure Stadium.
Coming to you live from Acrisure Stadium.
Just from Pittsburgh. Here's the thing, though. So it's the same thing here in Cleveland, right? Like, we have Progressive Field. Everyone still calls it Jacobs Field. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the 94 new stadium, and it's been gone now for, more than 10 years. It's been Progressive Field, and we still call it the Jake. I don't think, they can change the name, but you don't have to participate in that.
Right.
But the other thing too is it's Heinz is just a brand. You know what I mean? It's one thing for like Wrigley Field, which is also a brand, Wrigley Gum, and obviously the guy who owned Wrigley at the Cubs way back in the day. So like there is, there's always been that part to sports, and obviously it's the Old West. It's going to go to the highest bidder. Whoever's whoever's going to put up the top dollar to name the stadium. But it's still the same stadium. You're still going to have all the same. It's not like
Right.
you're going to
But
lose
ever
out
since
on
I was a
home
kid,
field.
it was
Right.
Heinz Field.
The big ketchup bottle.
It's just sad. It's just a sad day. It just Todd Acrisure, not even a Pittsburgh-based company, feels weird. Yeah, it feels really weird. But change is always weird. It's
What are other Pittsburgh? Is Heinz a Pittsburgh-based company? I don't even know that. Or is it just so ingrained in Pittsburgh culture that it is?
You know what? That I don't know. Let me find out for you. But I think I don't know how close Hershey is to Pittsburgh,
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I think that's closer to Philly, but I could be wrong.
Hershey Field would be pretty dope.
Yeah,
I would go for that 100%.
Okay, I could see that.
Let's see, Heinz National.
This is great radio.
Right. Heinz National Headquarters. It's located in Pittsburgh.
It is. Okay, so that's that is actually kind of a buzzkill then.
Kraft Heinz corporate headquarters is in Pittsburgh, PA.
Well, it is no longer.
Well, it is what it is. We'll just have to, hopefully with the name change, new name, new team, new quarterback. Hopefully Trubisky can get it going. I think he's going to ultimately start.
Yeah, I do too.
But I mean, so if things don't go well, how long do you think before they change it up?
For Mitch?
What's the grace period?
Didn't we say their bye week is like early? It's like week 6 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems like the right move. You kind of just, you let Pickett learn the playbook, kind of get up to speed with the NFL speed, really, really give him most, like, obviously Trubisky will get like the first 1 or 2 drives in preseason games, but then you let Pickett go to, halfway through the 4th, you know what I mean? Really, really let him get accustomed to that NFL style of speed and kind of take it from there. Usually when you have that extra long week, that's when you kind of bring in the young guy if it works out that way. Now, if Trubisky's on a heater, you're probably not going to pull him out, because the one thing with Pittsburgh, and it's like vinegar coming out of my mouth, but they believe they're going to be a contender, and the reason is because they always are. So I don't think that they're just going to hand the keys over just because they're past a bye week. If Trubisky is giving them a chance, at a wild card or the division, they're certainly going to stay with that hot hand. And again, Pittsburgh has, been the model of consistency in the NFL throughout their whole career. So I would anticipate you're not really going to see Pickett, barring injury. Obviously, of course, it's the NFL. We know that stuff happens. But let's just take that out of the equation. I think the earliest is after the bye week. And then it really kind of depends on Trubisky from there. We've seen him be a playoff quarterback. We've seen him be, frankly, I don't know if you want to call him a bust. He was the third pick. Was he the second or third pick? Second pick. And he certainly has not lived up to that. So, but I don't know if I'm willing to call him a bust, because he's not like out of the league by any means. He earned himself another starter job, but he is not. He's just not that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think he has the ability to win them some football games and manage the games, as long as he has the people around him step up and make some plays. I would say I would be more shocked to see him get pulled than to see him get like injured and replaced. So I don't think they're going to pull him this year, even if it's not good.
But here's the thing. Pickett was the oldest quarterback in the draft. Like what is he, like 22, 23?
Yeah, he's up there.
It'd be one thing if he was like a 20-year-old or, you know what I mean, like a junior coming out of college, but he was the most pro-ready quarterback. So I understand that thought process in theory, but taking a look at this specific situation, I don't know that necessarily makes a ton of sense. I don't know. How do you feel about that? It's your team.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see him get a year under the belt of just watching and learning. I think Trubisky's a great guy to do it from. He's obviously played for some tough coaches, especially when he was in Chicago with Matt Nagy. Obviously, that's not a great leader to have on your team. And then he also got to sit behind Josh Allen. Although Josh Allen is younger than Trubisky, Josh Allen obviously is a class above. And
Yeah.
he's got a lot of knowledge that he can give Pickett and watching film and helping him learn. Rookies don't often transition well into the NFL their first season, with the exception of, I would say, probably Big Ben. I don't know if I've ever seen another rookie quarterback come in and have this immediate success that he had right away. Maybe Pat Mahomes.
Well, but Mahomes even sat a year behind Alex Smith.
Right.
He
sat.
mean, there have been some examples from recent. You can certainly talk about Burrow, Kyler, Dak. There have been quarterbacks that have come in right away and shown immediate success. Not that means any, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like Baker, for instance, came in and played really well for obviously a 7-win season isn't amazing, but for where they were before,
it's an improvement.
It was a much needed improvement. He broke the rookie touchdown record without, he came in week 2 because Tyrod got injured, and it wasn't like that's what I'm saying. So like a situation like that, and then he played so well that when Tyrod got healthy, you couldn't give the job back. You had already moved on from that because this is the franchise guy. This is the future guy. So, it does depend. The only thing I would say though, is for Pittsburgh, it really depends on how the season starts, because Tomlin has never gone worse than 500, and which is so impressive, by the way.
It's unreal, dude. It still blows me away.
You guys start 2-6, let's say, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but let's just say for all, hypothetical purposes that they do.
Let's just pull up their schedule.
How patient is Pittsburgh going to be?
All right, so week 1 is going to be a banger. Steelers Bengals right off the rip. So weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Weeks 1 through 6. Bengals on the road in Cincinnati, at home against the Patriots. On the road in Cleveland, at home against the Jets. Week 5 is Steelers on the road in Buffalo, and week 6 is Steelers at home against the Buccaneers. Their first really not so much. Maybe it'll be a challenge as the Dolphins. We'll see how they start, but that's 6 tough games right out of the gate. I was
going to say
minus the Patriots.
They would. The Patriots made the playoffs last year. Mac Jones was pretty good. I mean, your easiest game on that schedule is the Jets. And then obviously we don't know what's going to happen with the Deshaun thing, but the Browns are still a great roster even with Brissett.
Right.
So that'll be interesting to see. I think, the Steelers would be ecstatic to start 3-3.
Right. I agree. I mean, they've got a pretty tough schedule the first 6 games. I'm trying to look here and see what they've got a pretty tough schedule this year. I mean,
they finished second in the division last year, so they're playing the number 2. We play the NFC South and the AFC. Is it the AFC? Oh no, it would be the AFC East, right?
Yeah, you got Colts, Dolphins, Panthers. Hold on, that's NFC. Colts, Dolphins, Saints, and
you said Patriots and Bills, right? Do we play and Jets? So
Patriots, Bills, Jets.
Yeah, Bucks. So that's the AFC East.
Carolina's in that mix, right? Hold on.
Carolina's NFC South, but I know we play the South. It looked a lot better
either way.
Yeah,
it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a tough season for all of the AFC North, if I'm being honest. It's a pretty tough strength of schedule for everybody. Especially I can't remember the last time the Steelers and the Bengals played each other week 1. It's been a while.
Yeah, I feel like divisional games week 1 is uncommon as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be a banger. That's gonna set the tone right off the rip.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not excited to play the Bengals. I can't remember the last time that I've had to say that.
Yeah, I know, right? It'll be interesting. So for the Steelers, I'm not really high on Mitch Trubisky, but I also think the Steelers have, an ingrained culture. I'm a big, again, like vinegar out of my mouth, but I'm a big fan of what Tomlin does as a coach. I mean, you really can't argue with the success that he's had. Again, when you've never had a losing season as a coach, obviously Pittsburgh in their entire careers only had 3 head coaches. Like, that's unheard of. The Browns have had 3 head coaches in 3 years one time. Like, it can be frustrating. So, we'll see how it goes. But in terms of Pickett, I would venture to say that he starts earlier than later, personally.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Yeah, no, we'll see. On the same vein with footballs in the schedule, there was some big news that came out a couple days ago. Goodell was interviewed. The rights for the NFL's TV, that contract is up at the end of this season with DirecTV, which means that the Sunday Ticket will be moving. And he said, quoted, "It is most likely moving towards a streaming service. We will not be back with DirecTV."
It'll be Amazon Prime. I mean, like, Bezos has shown a huge interest in the NFL. There's been rumors that he wants to buy a team. There's been.
Why don't he just buy the NFL?
He could if he wanted to.
He can never get the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I mean, I think when you take a look at these TV deals, they're usually like 7 years long, maybe sometimes upwards of 10. And it's crazy because we're in this, think of what entertainment looked like 7 years ago, right? It was Netflix, Hulu was coming on, but now it's like everybody has a streaming service. You see Paramount Plus, Peacock, Disney Plus. There's everything
Apple TV.
Apple TV. Exactly. There's too many to even, think of off the cuff. So there's certainly going to be, that's how people consume, entertainment now.
Yeah.
So, and let's face it, everybody's got at least an adjacent Amazon Prime account that you use. So
I have Prime.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, but like my fiance's sister does. And we just, you know what I mean? Like, we use hers. So, Bezos, if you're listening, let us keep it. Like, don't be a dick.
If that man's watching this podcast, I would be absolutely floored.
Yeah, he's got nothing better to do. Or airing right now in space. No, but I mean, Amazon Prime seems like the natural fit there. And I believe there were rumors about the fact that they were going to take it over because they're taking over Thursday night, I believe, as well. The only other one I could see is, you had just mentioned it there, is Apple TV. Apple has, some of the deepest, it's going to need to be somebody that's got some really deep pockets, and it's going to definitely be a non-traditional media. As in, it's not going to be Fox, CBS, NBC, something like that. Cause that doesn't make sense. You have to have the ability to, watch them all. What I would really be interested to see is, and we talked about this when we, found out with the Apple TV, MLS contract, was, are they going to waive
the blackouts?
Exactly. Because if you can waive the blackout restrictions, I don't think that will happen, because then you'll have Fox, CBS, fighting about that, because they want the exclusivity for their, local affiliates, because that's, that drives a huge amount of local dollars for your, whatever WK, whatever, and, whatever city you are, or K, right, whatever. So that'll be really, really interesting. But, for me, it's all about Red Zone. I mean, Red Zone is without a doubt the best way to consume Sunday football. I have, on the big TV, I got Browns versus whoever, in the 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock spot, if they are one of those two. And then you got the secondary TV setup where you got Red Zone, because let's face it, a huge driver for viewership in the NFL now, there's two things: fantasy football and just gambling, just straight up gambling. Yep. So for Sunday Ticket, you're going to want to be able to watch. Maybe you have money on a specific game. You don't want, the back and forth between inside the 20s, for whatever team. But it's awesome for Red Zone to never miss a scoring play and see, whoever your guy is, get you 6 points on the Sunday. Right. But yeah, I mean, I would say you're looking at Prime or Apple TV, maybe a dark shot with like an HBO Max or something like that. But I
think you hit the nail on the head with Apple TV or Amazon Prime. I mean, I don't really see it going anywhere else. I would love to see it go Prime. because that would be great. Because then I if it came included with Prime, then I could just get it for free basically because I already have Prime.
It
I'm
won't.
sure
It won't. There's
it
no way.
won't, but or hopefully discounted because I buy the ticket every year. I
Do
don't
you?
have Direct TV, but you can actually still subscribe to it even if you don't have Direct TV. You just have to go on their website and type in your address and see if you're eligible for it, which I don't know why you wouldn't be.
Right.
I think your place just has to be eligible for a satellite dish, even though you don't need one.
Right.
And then once they can confirm that, then you can sign up for the ticket and get it. You just have to download the app. You can get it on your phone. You get it on your, if you have like a PlayStation or a gaming console or something,
Yeah.
like a smart TV that you can download the Direct TV app, Sunday Ticket app. Yep, get it right there.
Yeah, and it's certainly interesting from the business side of it because, like we were just saying, I mean, like the traditional cable box is kind of going away. Everything's kind of a la carte. I wouldn't be surprised if they even did a thing where it's like you don't even have to sign up for Sunday Ticket, but you can just pay 99 cents to watch a game. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
I think that would be the way to do it. Is like legitimately a la carte. Like, there's a big, I don't know, like the Buccaneers Patriots game comes to mind. I know it was a Sunday night game, but like, let's just say it was 4:00. That was one of the most highest viewed games of the year. I think it might have been the highest regular season viewership game because you have Brady going back to Foxborough. But maybe you're not a huge NFL fan where it doesn't make sense to drop the 80, $120, whatever it is to, get the season pass. But you're like, yeah, I'll pay $1. It's like the microtransaction
right
philosophy. So I think a company who is invested and is smart in the streaming systems, whether it be Apple, whether it be Amazon, whether it be any of the others, you've seen other platforms kind of carve out theirs, like Peacock carved out WWE, which doesn't seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but they have a very rabid fan base, and you're going to drive a lot of membership by having something that nobody else has.
Yeah.
I did like the sign up free for a month for Peacock for free just so I could watch WrestleMania. And I'm not a huge wrestling fan, but like I'll fucking watch WrestleMania.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun, man. So like that's kind of where I envision this going. But the NFL is smart enough, and they will go to the highest bidder. That's their business. That's what they'll do, and there will be tons of people in line at the auction.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. Those negotiations will probably take place, I would assume, after the season. If they're not already in like pre-discussions right now, I would assume they are, since this is going to be such a major deal.
Right,
it's going to be extremely lucrative, and it's ultimately going to change the landscape of how we consume sports content. Football is probably one of the most televised, if not the most televised.
Oh, it's
viewed.
the most. Yeah, well, at least in our country, yeah.
In America, that is. Obviously in Europe, I would assume it's football, the other football.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. A lot of things are transitioning to streaming services. Obviously we talked about the MLS deal, so it's going to be exciting to see where it goes. Over to the basketball side of things. Summer league's going on. Anything impressing you?
What's impressing me, I think the most is, and I don't know, this is probably more summer league adjacent, but just how deep the NBA is right now with talent. Like, I am so excited to watch a lot of teams that I don't think I would like. Chet Holmgren is putting on a show for Oklahoma City. Paolo Banchero for the Magic. We've seen, Jabari for Houston. Those top three guys have been, rather impressive to start. But, I'm actually going to be excited to watch some Magic games. I'm going to be excited to watch some Oklahoma City Thunder games. If last year you told me it's Magic Thunder, I'm like, I'm not tuning into that shit. Like, part of me actually wants, and we're just talking about Sunday Ticket, like part of me actually wants to get League Pass this year, because I think the NBA is so flush with talent right now. And it kind of begs the question, and we're talking about the business side of it, and the NBA has floated it around a little bit. I actually think they're in a good position right now that they could expand to 32 teams, because there's so many stars in the league right now that I actually think the NBA could, succeed with that. A lot of times, saw it happen to the NHL where they like over expanded at a certain time, and then Obviously, there's only this. It's the same pool of players. There's just two more teams, but the obvious answers right there are you give Seattle a team back and you put a team in Vegas. And LeBron James has been on record as, when he retires, he wants to own a team, and he's floated out the idea of Vegas being that location. And we've seen the Raiders have success in Vegas. We've seen the Golden Knights, Vegas used to not have any professional sports teams.
Now they've got two.
And now they've got two. And I think they could, potentially withstand three. But I know that doesn't necessarily answer your question for the summer league. But that's what stands out to me the most is these guys are coming into the league a lot more polished than I think they used to. We were making fun of Chet Holmgren before the draft just because he looks like he's 175 pounds soaking wet, and he's like 7'2".
Right.
But it's pretty
talented.
Yeah, it's pretty evident right away that the guy is going to be, certainly a force in the league, at least on the defensive end. And everyone, and I mentioned this when I was on with Todd, everyone always makes the point of like, well, yeah, but wait till he has to go up against Jokic or Embiid. And I'm like, wait till anyone has to go up against those two. They're fucking really good.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure Embiid can put Chet into an absolute body bag, but he does that to the rest of the league too. So I don't really see that as such a deterrent. And I think Chet is kind of the culmination of the change in basketball, right? So people that are 7 feet tall are still going to want to play basketball, although we're seeing the center position go away. So what are we starting to see now? We're starting to see bigs that play like guards. And I think you're starting to see that with Chet. It's the same way that, everybody can hit, a shot 6 feet behind the 3-point line because of Steph Curry, right? He kind of changed the game in that regard. Well, we're starting to see the change in the bigs too. It probably starts with like a Dirk Nowitzki type, at least from, our generation. And then you talk about, Porzingis, Karl Anthony Towns, these bigs that are not your traditional, I'm going to back my ass into the post like Shaq, Dikembe Mutombo, guys like that who were, they made their money 4 feet from the rim, and they'll still do that defensively. But you're seeing guys that they play more of a guard style game of basketball.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Kevin Durant is a perfect example too. But if he came into the league now, he might have been more of a center. Now, you know what I mean? He basically had to come into the league as a small forward because nobody had ever heard of a 7-foot guy who could handle the basketball, shoot from anywhere on the court, dribble the ball from end to end. That's not what you see a traditional 7-footer. And if you recall, when he came into the league, he always said he's like 6'11" because he didn't want to have the connotation of being a 7-footer. It was just kind of interesting at the time. But now you'd be like, yeah, I'm fucking 7'1", dude. I can do all this.
It's crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy. So Chet Holmgren and Kevin Durant have very similar like stories coming up in basketball, with the exception of Chet Holmgren going viral for crossing over Steph Curry. I don't know if you saw that video, but
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. But essentially, they didn't hit a growth spurt until after they were already really good at basketball at like a 6'2", 6'3".
Anthony Davis was the same thing.
Yeah, and then they just shot up like a foot. And then out of nowhere, they're 7 feet and they can handle the ball, they can shoot, and they can do it all. And it's insane. If every basketball player is going to be brought up being able to, I mean, in today's game, ball handling is way better than I've ever seen it. It's like growing up in the 90s and watching that basketball versus watching it now, there was like you didn't see a big ever handle the ball. I think the first big we saw kind of handle the ball was Shaq. And he didn't do it gracefully. I mean, he did it, but it wasn't like smooth.
A little before then too was Sabonis for the Blazers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, your point stands, and that's why I always say Dirk Nowitzki is kind of that turning point for the position.
Yeah, him too.
But really what used to happen was the only bigs that could come in and be successful like that, or Zildrunas Ilgauskas for the Cavs comes to mind, where he was hitting 22 footers like nothing, and he's 7'3", because in Europe they put bigs through all the same drills. They were taught dribbling, they were taught passing. It wasn't just because you were a big you got put in the post. In America, if you had a guy that was like 6'2", and I'm talking about relevance here is that's like 13, You know what I mean? Playing against everybody else who's under 6 feet tall. You're like, get your ass in the post and don't leave it. And you don't actually get to develop your skills. And then that's how they play basketball their entire life. So then you come in, you're still talented and you come into the NBA and that's your skill set. Somebody like Roy Hibbert, it's amazing how fast the NBA left him behind, where he was like an all NBA guy and was like changing playoff series. And then next thing you know, his position is completely irrelevant and he can't, really hold a job down because he's not really doing what the NBA is requiring anymore. So
Right.
it can happen just like that. But, I think now that the NBA has changed a little bit in how it plays, the value of the 3-pointer, it takes a little time for that to show the
Yep.
guys actually growing into the league to do it. But I think you see guys like Chet coming into the league, and this is going to be, more the norm than we're used to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's what made somebody like DeMarcus Cousins in his prime very valuable, was the fact that he could stretch the floor, and he could play in the post. He can do it all.
Yeah.
The game is just evolving to a point where we're going to be watching some different basketball than we've ever seen in the next 5 years. You're not going to see a lot of plays that are drew up for people to catch a ball 4 feet from the rack and throw it in. It's going to be plays that are designed pick and roll, shooting, coming off screens, moving without the ball is going to be more important than it's ever been.
Yeah,
because it's becoming a shooter's league. It's not a big man dominated league anymore.
What do you think about that as a fan of watching the game of basketball? Because there used to be a time where, a team taking 13 3-pointers
was a lot. And
now a team doing that in a quarter isn't unheard of.
No, not at all. I mean, that could even be from one fucking person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I feel. I mean, I was always a shooter growing up. Obviously, I'm not, I'm
That was me
5'10",
too.
Yeah.
So
I enjoy it because I understand the difficulty of how hard it is to actually shoot and, make a basket with a hand in your face and fading away and coming off a screen and just turning and popping. It's
right.
It's definitely a talent. But I do also miss the days where, you got Shaq in the post and he just throws his elbow around and then just drop steps and, puts his nuts on somebody's face.
Yeah. So I still think you have that type of player. They're just not big centers anymore. Like, to me, although he's a small forward, power forward, like Giannis is like the modern day Shaq, where when that guy wants to get to the rim, that guy's going to get to the fucking rim.
Yeah,
and there's not really a whole lot you can do except foul him. He's just a better foul shooter than Shaq ever was. So I agree with you, but I still feel like there is that physical domination in the league. It's just packaged differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's in a guy that's, 7 foot and can stretch the floor and he can run faster, if not just as fast as point guards.
Right.
Yeah. His first step is quick. His ball handling is good. I wouldn't say it's great yet. I still think he's got a little bit of work to do with the ball handling, but outside of that, I mean, that in his extended range, I think, I think he's great from, 10 to 15 feet, but once you get beyond 20, Giannis isn't that great.
Yeah. If he can develop a 3, he's going to be just scary, unstoppable. Or like Joel Embiid, he's a great example where, man, that guy can powerhouse in the post, but he's got a pretty soft touch too from deep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's changing. It's changing. And that's what we have to realize as fans, is that if the game didn't change, then it wouldn't be improving. And it's continuously gotten better. The talent's gotten better. That's a big reason why I don't like watching college sports, and I prefer watching professional, especially basketball. I think it's just, even though people say, oh, these guys are just going through the motions, they're not really trying. BS. I don't want anybody to come out here and tell me these guys aren't trying. These guys are playing 82 games. They're on the road. They're practicing all in between that. And these guys are playing the best of the best of the best night in and night out. It doesn't matter if you're going, in playing last year's Orlando Magic and you were the Bucks. Like, you still got to go in there and give it your A game, because they could come in there and beat your ass.
Yeah, and like I was just saying earlier, I don't think we've ever seen the NBA be this talent rich before.
Yeah. I would love to see them expand it. I would love to see them bring a team back to like Columbus, Cincinnati area. I've always been a huge fan of that.
I
I,
think you could do 2. I think you could expand to 2, and
yeah, they would
I
definitely be West Coast though.
I just personally think Seattle deserves a team.
Yeah, like the Supersonics not being in Seattle is a travesty.
It's just wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I
And
would like
Vegas
that.
is another city
I
that's
think
just
Vegas makes a lot of sense too. Yeah.
that place is just primed right now. They're just getting everything. They've got I'm just waiting for a professional baseball team to go in there.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, is if you do that, you will have to take a Western Conference team and move them to the East for parity.
So
So
who would you
that,
move hypothetically?
based on geography, probably Memphis, I think would probably make the most sense.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. That would probably be the easiest. You could maybe say the Timberwolves, but I think that's too far north because they already deal with the worst travel um, in the league just based on logistics.
right.
But yeah, I think Memphis would probably be that team.
I'm surprised. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I didn't even. Yeah, that's crazy. Why
Yeah,
are they in the West?
I mean, there's only so many. When you look at the map, it looks a little weird, but then you realize how little teams are between like Memphis and Denver. You know what I mean? Like
True.
Denver is kind of like
Outside of Texas, like
yeah, exactly.
but there's above that you have like you got the Thunder.
You got the
You
Thunder,
don't have
and then
anything in the Dakotas. You
you
don't
got
have
the
anything in
Pelicans right there too.
New
Um,
Orleans.
so yeah, you got
Yeah,
Denver and Salt Lake, and then it's all like literal West Coast.
yeah, true. Wow, never really thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Geographically speaking, that
Yeah.
wasn't my strongest subject, but but yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. Chat, appreciate you guys coming in tonight and liking the video. If you guys have any questions for us, please do not hesitate to throw them out there as we continue throughout the evening. Now, keeping sorry,
You're good.
keeping on the same vein with the NBA. They're talking about finalizing the expansion of the playoffs. Is that right, Aaron?
Well, it's to solidify the play-in tournament. So the play-in tournament all started in the bubble to basically get Zion to the bubble because you needed teams. There was a limited amount of teams who weren't invited because they were so far out of playoff contention when the season stopped. Like the Cavs, for instance, weren't down there in Orlando in the Disney bubble, but they voted on that, and then it's basically been like a year-to-year thing. And now it was, kind of like let's test this out, but let's not make it a concrete thing until we see the success of it. And I think you've seen the success of it over the last couple of years, the last 2 outside of the bubble, where that creates some really really competitive basketball down the stretch, and then it also allows teams to jockey for playoff positioning towards the end of the year. So for anyone who isn't aware, how the playoffs work now is the top 6 seeds are in, and then the 7 and 8 seed are a playoff in. So if you finish as the 7th seed, you play the 8th seed, and the winner of that game is the 7th seed. Then the 9 and the 10 seed play. The winner of that game plays the 8 seed. So as long as you finish in 7 or 8, you're still giving yourself a better chance than 9 or 10. But 9 or 10 still have a chance to get in this year. So for instance, the Cavs this last year finished as the 8th seed, lost to the Nets as the 7th seed, and then had to play the 9th seed Hawks at home and lost that game. So the Hawks actually leapfrogged them, and then the Cavs were on the outside looking in. So it's interesting. It's a way to, I think the NBA has kind of clamped down, or at least try to put rules in place to dissuade tanking, allowing that 9th or 10th seed team a shot at the playoffs. And not only the playoffs, keep in mind from the owner's perspective, that's home playoff revenue. That's added money outside of your guaranteed regular season money. So owners are always about that, even if it's just 2 or 3 games.
Right.
You always want to see that, but you guarantee yourself at least 2 home playoff games. That's additional money from your season ticket holders. That's additional money from your ticket sales, merchandise, food, concessions, all that kind of stuff. But also that 9th or 10 team, and sometimes the 11th seed is jockeying with the 10 just to have the chance to be in there.
Yeah.
So you have 15 teams on each side, you're dissuading tanking. We've seen them do that by adjusting the lottery, lowering the odds for, just finishing with the first pick. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. In fact, since they've changed that, I don't even think we've seen the number one or the worst team, win the lottery, if you will. So I think it's a great thing for competitive balance. It's a great thing for playoff drama. And it's just kind of a fun way to end the season with the play-in game. Now, as a Cavs fan, would I selfishly have liked the Cavs to just get in on the traditional model? Yeah. But also, it kind of worked out in our favor a little bit too, because we had traded our first round pick to the Pacers for LeVert, and it just, really didn't work out. We'll see how it works with the offseason, but it was a lottery protected first round pick, and we got to hold on to it because we didn't make the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying the Cavs lost on purpose, but when we lost to the Hawks, I at least had some form of consolation prize of like, all right, well, at least we're going to get a first rounder. And Abaji has been, playing pretty well in summer league. So certainly a piece we needed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's this is always the time of the year that, like, don't get me wrong, I love summertime. I love when it's hot outside. It's nice to walk outside in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
But as a sports fan,
it sucks.
This is the worst time of the year. It really is. It is.
And we're not quite at the All-Star break yet for baseball.
That is the worst time. That is like the actual desert for sports.
Yes.
There's nothing. There's
we're on this hill and we're flying down at like 90 miles an hour. And we're almost to the bottom.
And I'm pretty sure that's when ESPN does the ESPYs, which is actually pretty smart.
Yeah,
because there's
with nothing else going on.
Right. There's nothing else going on, and they're like, all right, let's have a sports award show, and it's like, well, isn't that what sports is? Like, don't we give out trophies to the winners? Now we're doing like I think the concept of a sports award show is kind of silly. It's just kind of like let's bring everyone together and celebrate and have some champagne and have a fun night.
Right.
And which is fine, but they're like best team, and you're like, we know who the best team is. They won. They went through the gauntlet to do it. It's just kind of funny and silly to me.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of that, we are actually 1 week away from the All-Star game.
Yeah, for baseball.
It is, next Tuesday, July 19th.
And
so
I've kind of fallen out of love with baseball over the last several years, and I think part of it is I used to love baseball when I was a kid, but it was like I had my summers off, like what else was I going to do than stay up and watch, well, the Indians at the time, obviously the Guardians now, but that's what I used to do in my summer. It was like, oh, they're playing the Angels and it's a 10 o'clock game. Great. Like, I'll watch this and then I'll turn Conan on, or like what, I don't know. Like, that's speaking of traditional media.
Right.
But like that's how I spent my summer. Like, I would watch baseball all the time because I really had nothing else to do, especially at night or, games at 7 o'clock. That's great. But, baseball it's a long season, man. And when you're an adult and you have adult responsibilities and, it's really hard to tune into that many games. But I absolutely love like the home run derby. That's always super fun. Even like the celebrity softball game, I kind of like that shit.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see people like that you like love, like, musically or actors or whatever it may be, just go out there and make an ass themselves, or they're actually a genuine athlete.
Yeah.
Like that's why I love the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game. I love seeing people go out there and seeing who can play and who can't.
Yeah. Well, this last year it was in Cleveland, so Myles Garrett played, and oh, that was awesome. He was just dunking on people.
Hell yeah. J. Cole's actually a really good basketball player. We've seen that. Chris Brown's a pretty good basketball player. Bieber's terrible.
The guy from Migos, he was pretty good too. Quavo, I think his name.
Quavo. Yeah. He's decent.
But yeah, that's always fun too.
It's fun to see him get out there and mix it up with some of the older professionals. I think it was like, and even some of the WNBA players that get in there. You get to see them go in there and act like, and just absolutely crush it.
Oh, they destroy all of us. So yeah,
absolutely. Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Sue Bird is retiring. I don't know if anybody is aware of that. What an absolute legend, Sue Bird. Probably one of the best female basketball players to ever do it. Outside of like Diana Taurasi and Lisa Leslie and
Cheryl Swoop.
Swing Cash.
Yeah.
Name dropping
We know
all of them.
WNBA. Not
Do
really.
what?
I was like, oh, we know WNBA. I don't really, but I know the big names, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, it's fun to see them get out there and mix it up. So All-Star Week is 1 week away from today. I would assume that the home run derby is probably on Sunday, maybe Monday night.
It's always the day before. Alonzo is going for a three-peat. He announced that he was gonna
Big Meat Pete.
Yeah, which is interesting because he would be the first player to do that since the only player to ever do it. The kid, Ken Griffey Jr.
Wow, that'll be a that's crazy. No, that dude lives for the home run derby. He's made more money winning the home run derby than he has on his contracts.
Yeah,
it's insanity.
And that's always fun to watch. That's like a really, really fun sports night.
Oh yeah, the home run derby is great.
And there's something for everyone. If you're just a casual fan, it's just dudes launching balls. I watched it last
It is Monday.
Yeah, it is. Okay. I watched it last year with my fiance, and there was just like she was just like, that's his dad throwing to him. That's adorable. Like she didn't give a shit about the rest of it, but she got really into that piece of it. She's like, I'm rooting for the father-son matchup.
Yeah, she would have melted if she watched the 2017 or 2018 when it was in Cincy, and Todd Frazier had his brother thrown to him, and he hits the walk off. Like, that's one of the best home run derbies I ever watched. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, and there's been some good ones, and so this will be. I'm always into that kind of stuff. That's really fun. But you're right. We are approaching the literal worst time in the year for sports.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only unfortunate part. But after the All-Star game and after baseball takes, it's usually like 4 or 5 days off until games play again. That's when you start ramping up, and you're like, oh, is it training?
August is right around the corner. We've got training camp. We've got fantasy football drafts. We've got preseason
fantasy football, and oh boy,
towards the end of August is right when my juices start getting hot.
Yeah,
like, all right. We've got a couple weeks of football, and then basketball is gonna be kicking off like October. Like,
I 100% agree. And that's when it gets really, really exciting. And obviously, once they start playing the actual NFL games second week of September, that's when that I always get really excited about that Thursday night game to kick off the season. It's always a marquee matchup. So that'll be really, really good. But right now is a little bit dead in terms of stuff going on, in the world of sports. Even like NBA free agency has completely cooled off. And part of it is, nobody knows what's going to happen with Durant or Kyrie or any of that. So, that can be a little bit frustrating.
I saw something where there was like a proposed like 5-team trade where Durant goes to Phoenix, Kyrie goes to LA, DeAndre Ayton goes to the Nets.
The Oklahoma City Thunder somehow get like 12 picks.
Right. Yeah. It was something crazy. Somebody got a bunch of picks. I can't remember, but it was crazy. Obviously, it was one of those like fake news things, but I think we're all just anticipating on where that's going to go. It's going to be the next hot button topic that we'll discuss whenever it does happen.
Speaking of the fake news thing, did you see the thing on ESPN just a couple days ago where you've heard of Ballsack Sports?
Yeah,
it's like the Onion for like sports. So they had like a fake quote from Ja Morant, who was like, yeah, if Michael Jordan played today, I'd fucking cook him. Basically, it was like the gist of the tweet, and it's credited to Boston. And literally, all you have to do is see who it's from or what it is, and like ESPN ran with it on like, and they have like Jacoby and Kendrick Perkins talking about it, and Kendrick Perkins is like, Morant is equal parts confident and crazy, like, and then they have to come out like. I don't remember if it was the next day or like after the segment. I just, I didn't actually watch the segment. I just, saw it unfold on Twitter, and they're like, yeah, we've been had. It was just so funny. I love that shit.
I mean, either way, I mean, it's a fun topic to discuss. What NBA players in their like today, like that are active, like in their prime, could take on MJ in his prime?
Nobody. I mean, like I think, like we were just saying, I think the NBA is at a point right now where there's a lot more talent on the court. Like if MJ wanted to play now, I think he would have a harder road. But it would be hard for me to say that he still wouldn't be the best. But he also played in a time when hitting the 3-pointer wasn't that big of a deal. And MJ was a decent 3-point shooter, but he wasn't
elite.
He wasn't like a 42% guy.
Right. He could hit them when it mattered.
Yeah, he hit them when they mattered, but he was a guy who played, the mid-range game and at the rim.
Yeah.
But obviously he could still hit it, but it's just such a different league now. So
Right.
that would be interesting. But I just thought, oh man, that's so funny of the worldwide leader in sports. And they can't even like fact check a quote. And they're just like, well, we need,
right.
It's kind of like, unfortunately, it's the same thing where,
we need stuff to talk about.
We need content. We need to talk about something. Someone get Kendrick Perkins riled up. And
I think Giannis could take Jordan in his prime. I think he could.
Really?
I do. I think Giannis would be very good defensive wise. I don't think offensively he'd be able to compete because Jordan was a pretty good defender. But I think defensively it would be a nightmare for Jordan to try to score.
Yeah. I mean, probably. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to say that. I don't want to be on record saying that. You will.
I am.
Yeah.
I'll stand by it. I think Giannis can put up a good fight.
I mean, yeah, of course he could, but I still think Jordan would have been better. I mean, here's the thing. Then, do you think
how many athletic 7-footers did he actually play against? Like, I'm talking like Giannis style athletic.
Yeah, that's a tough question because I don't. Not a lot.
The question is 0. Maybe Olajuwon.
Yeah, Hakeem, but it's not like Hakeem was checking Jordan.
No, because he could. I don't think he was quick enough.
No, I mean, but he was a center, so if he had to meet him at the rim, he would. But really, no, I can't. Again, like the NBA now, as opposed to even just 20 years ago, is just it's almost like a completely different sport. All these players have the benefit of training staffs that are smarter. These people care more about their diet, or at least, most of them, excluding a few.
Like a guy people. Like Klay Thompson, his career would have been over in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. With those injuries, it'd be like, all right, well, that's super unfortunate for him, but it's over now. So yeah, that's a really interesting point. I don't know, man. I still believe Jordan would come in and just cook everybody.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a different game.
Does he win? Does he go 6-0 in the finals? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Because you take those
today's
prime
world.
Warriors team. That's like the argument. Do those prime Warriors teams beat like the 96 Bulls? And
the only issue I see the Warriors having against a team like that is their ability to be effective in the post with Rodman.
But you don't need to be effective in the post when you're shooting 83.
I mean, rebounding.
Yeah. That would be there's the matchup I want to see: Draymond versus Rodman.
Oh, Rodman will wipe the fucking floor with them.
Yeah, I know, but I still think
I would love to see it.
Yeah,
I would love to see Rodman beat the shit out of Draymond.
Crazy, like he might not show.
True,
he might be in Vegas for a week or go to the WWE and just fucking it. Like he did that shit. It's completely wild.
Yeah, that that last dance was very telling. Where's Dennis?
Oh, that was so good. And they were so, I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but they rushed that. So they had that plan to come out that like September, and then COVID happened. And I think they had like, it's a 10-episode series or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they had like 7 in the can. So they started the series telling the, producers and editors of the show, like, these last 3 episodes have to be done in sequence. So like they weren't done editing the show when they started airing it because there was such a void for sports. And
they wanted to take advantage.
They wanted to take advantage of it. And it turned into just this like Sunday viewing of like, all right, make the popcorn, pour a cocktail, Last Dance is on. And that was a really, really interesting time for television because again, same thing. It's like we're talking about coming into this dog days. You remember those just like 2 months, 3 months of just nothing is on. There's absolutely
nothing. So much alcohol.
Oh, dude, me too. It was bad. just buying fucking handles
Handles.
of Jim Beam. Like I'm not going
Yep.
back outside.
Yep.
So let's do that. My buddy works for a winery, and he was fucking hand delivering us like a 10 case, like case of wine. We were like, all right, that's great. Let's go.
What we owe
Um,
you? Cool.
yeah, I told him he like texted us and he's like, is anyone trying to get wine? And I was like, honestly, man, can we just get like 10 bottles? And he's like, yeah, I just decided we're doing a buy 10, get one free deal, I guess. So we were like, all right, great. But even then, like, I remember one of the only things, and now I know we talked about golf at the beginning of this, but I got really back into golf during COVID because it was the only thing that still felt normal because you could go outside, you could still be socially distanced, and you were still, golf was the same outside of there being that little fucking pool noodle in the hole and not being able to pull the pin, which since then I don't pull the pin anymore. And it's not like I don't want to get my hands dirty kind of thing. I actually now just kind of prefer it in a weird way. Not that it matters if someone pulled the pin, I wouldn't care. But I also remember one of the only other things that was sports related. I went golfing that day and I rushed home to watch the match, which was like the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson thing. I made like a huge deal out of it. I was like, we're ordering in takeout. We're going to sit down. I'm going to watch golf. And it was fine. It was okay. But it was just because there was such a void of that in my life. It was like you would have thought it was the Super Bowl.
Right. So, I mean, some of the audio from that was hilarious.
Oh, it was great. Tom Brady was playing terrible. And then like everyone was talking shit to him. And then he just fucking holes out from like 110 yards.
Right.
Like, it was great.
That's why we hate you, Tom Brady.
Yeah. Actually, it was really, really refreshing to see Tom Brady fucking slice it into the woods.
Not be good at something.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I do that. Like, me and Tom Brady have something in common. We can't get off the tee box.
Oh, dude, that's the worst part of my game right now. Is just getting off the tee box. If I could get in the fairway, I would cut 10 strokes off my game.
Yeah, I'm pretty good, like 100 and in. I'm a pretty good putter, and I'm a pretty good chipper within 100, especially around the green. But yeah, I bought a new driver this year, and I've added about 10 to 20 yards in my drive, but I'm actually hitting it a lot more consistently. But still, even then, it's like I've been so bad on par threes this year for whatever reason, and this has never been a problem of mine. And now I'm just taking balls off the deck. It's like I'm not even teeing them up. I'm just like,
really?
Yeah, because here's the thing: the tee box, outside of there being chunks everywhere, but you can still find a decent, flat patch. It's basically just like hitting off of the fairway. So if I'm having trouble hitting it off of a tee, why would I not just hit a 6-iron like I do in the fairway?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good point. No, I usually try to take it off a tee because obviously it gives you a little bit more elevation. But
yeah, I know. Yeah. But not when you're slicing it left every time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Well, chat, obviously, it's a Tuesday before the All-Star break, so we didn't have a ton to talk about this evening. If you have anything else for us, please let us know. But we're going to be wrapping it up here.
Oh, here's something that just came down.
Let's hear it.
The NBA Board of Governors approves heightened penalty for transition take foul.
Wow.
So the offensive team will be awarded one free throw, which may be attempted by any player on the offensive team in the game at the time that the foul is committed. So a foul in which the defender does not make a play on the ball to stop a transition scoring opportunity. So kind of like
they get the free throw and the ball, right?
Yes, the offensive team will retain possession of the ball. The defensive player who commits the take foul will be assessed just a common personal foul. Previously, the penalty for a take foul was a common personal foul on the offending player, and a side out for the offensive.
They get the ball. Yeah.
Yep.
Basically, stopping a fast break is what we're talking about here, which I think is a great rule. I hate the transition foul because you don't have people that can get back. Transition offense is one of the most exciting things in basketball, and it's a great thing.
3-on-2s, it's great.
It makes for a great gameplay, and it actually, even on the defensive side, like if you have one guy back and he stops the 2-on-1, like that's a sweet play. Number one, and number two is your team's going to be hyped.
Yeah,
it presents a opportunity for changes in momentum, especially defensively. But I mean, obviously, I would say the offense is going to win that probably 8 times out of 10. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think it's great. I think, we talk about how maybe the 3-pointer is changing the game a lot, but it's really just kind of like the analytical part of it. So I get why defenders do that. Like, I totally get it. It's well within the rules to do so. It makes sense. It's a good opportunity, but that's at least the NBA getting out in front of it and saying, this really takes away from,
it slows the game down.
Slows the game down, and it really takes away from the spirit of the game. But at the same time, I didn't fault players for doing it, because the point of the game is to win, right? So
yeah, no, it makes sense. It's a smart play.
Anything you can do within the rules to give yourself a better chance to win, I'm never going to fault anyone for doing it, unless it's kind of the same reason and I know they've addressed it a little bit, but I hated watching James Harden or Trae Young, where it's like, you're not really trying to make the ball. You're just trying to get the foul to get to the line. And that's really frustrating to watch, because I don't really want to watch a team shoot. It's like when Harden got traded to Philly, everyone was like, they're just going to shoot 50 free throws a game. That's just not really fun to watch. They might win some games, but I don't really care to watch that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that if an offensive player jumps into a defender, it should be an offensive foul, not a defensive foul. I know that they've stopped calling it, but if they're seeing it happen, it should be an offensive foul, ball going the other way, just to prevent it, because like it's not safe either way. It's not safe to jump into a defender, because you're going to be taking their landing spot away from them if you jump into them, potentially causing them harm. So I think it could go both ways, because obviously the defender is not allowed to step in, to where the shooter is supposed to land. That's obviously a foul. I think is it a flagrant? Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. Or no, so, I think it depends. I mean, it depends on the intent.
If it's intentional, right? Yeah, they can.
Because sometimes that does happen, but I think mostly it's just a common foul.
Yeah, but I think they need to not make it harder on the offensive end, but I think they need to even it out a little bit and make the defense, have some rules in place to where they're not completely screwed 10 times out of 10.
Right. Well, I mean, most sports, honestly, all sports are usually favored to the offense, the rules. And the NBA is certainly no exception to that. So I get your point, but I certainly don't think it's skewed one way or the other. If anything, I'd say the offense. It's the same thing in football, right? Like, cornerbacks aren't allowed to do anything anymore.
No.
And
that's the toughest position to play in football.
100%. No doubt. But at the same time, I don't need to see, somebody hugging a guy running down the court, to stop a fast break, because that's fun. You just gave up a steal. Here comes the point.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just like throwing a pick six. What are you gonna do about it? Yeah, you threw it. He read the passing lane. He's already 15 yards back before anybody on the offense can turn around. Unless you got DK Metcalf, that guy's touching the end zone. Still one of the best plays I've ever seen by a wide receiver is that chase down that he had off the pick.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? One of the best receiver plays you've ever seen is basically on defense.
Yeah. That was one of the wildest things I've ever. He's so fast.
I know.
And I saw
it was Buda Baker, right?
It was Buda Baker. Yeah. He was actually mic'd up. And there's audio.
It was like him on the sidelines. He's like, "How the fuck did he catch me?
How did he catch me? How did he catch up to me? You're supposed to tell me if he's gonna be there." He's like, "Bro, he was 15 yards in front of me."
Yeah, man, that was wild.
Yeah, that dude's an absolute freak. That would have happened in the Super Bowl where the Steelers beat the Cardinals if Larry Fitzgerald wouldn't have ran into one of his own coaches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a big thing on that, and Larry's still a little hurt about that one, which I don't blame him. I mean, he was literally on his ass, and then he just ran into a coach.
Yeah.
And then he ended up catching back up to James Harrison right before he got to the end zone. But obviously by then it was too late.
Yeah, that's over by then.
Yeah. So it's just crazy how fast some of these receivers are. They can keep up. Blows my mind.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald wasn't exactly a burner.
No. But James Harrison wasn't exactly a burner either. He was a bruiser.
He was a bruiser. Absolutely.
That guy running 92 yards. I mean, I would be gassed by the time I ran 60.
Sure. Yeah. Taking some oxygen. You'll be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, chat. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. We appreciate everybody coming out this evening. We will be back live tomorrow evening with some basketball and other topics. If you guys have anything, feel free to message us, post it on the page, hit us up directly. More than happy to answer and field any of your questions. But for Aaron, I'm Bobby. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Later, guys.